All right, next I'm going to invite Jake and Lacey back up. We're going to do some more product updates.
Thanks, Benny. Okay, well, is everybody ready to have some more exciting conversation?
And there's music coming next, so
be
ready.
Okay, so we are going to talk about intelligence for agribusinesses. So when we finished up the last one, I kind of said, it's good to have all of this information, but what are we going to do with it and how are we going to make it actionable? And so that's what we're going to talk about here. So there is no shortage of data. We all know that. We've talked about it quite a bit today. And it's all over the place. And so we don't have a data problem in the form of having it. We have a disconnection problem. So we've got to really work to get that stuff in a form that is usable. And so that's what we've been working on since the last buddy seat, is how can we make it to where your teams can not just search things up or go dig through all of these systems to find what they need, but can they ask questions in the natural way that they would ask them, and then how can they get answers that are going to be impactful?
I think you'd expect Bushel at this point to have a chat bot, and Buddy's ready for you all to try now in a real way. We've been testing for a long time. Buddy started pretty unintelligent and has gotten much more intelligent. One of the hardest problems is not using some leading model and talking to it. It's actually directing it towards the right information that your systems are running on. And some of this information is pretty ancient in how we have to get it out and into a usable place. Sometimes AI tools can't do math, and so we have to teach it how to write SQL queries, which you don't want to do, and certainly some of the systems we have to talk to don't do for us. And so there's a lot of that behind the scenes that's gotten us to this point where we can say, hey, Buddy can get you proper answers consistently and do it quickly. The other problem is, if it takes 5 minutes, you might as well have went and built a report. And so it's got to be quick. So we're going to show you a little bit about what we've been learning with Buddy and what he can do for you.
Yeah, so let me talk a little bit more about Buddy and what that means. So if you remember in the CRM, all of the different data objects that we can serve up and share with your teams, we need all of that to be able to be accessed by Buddy, and that's part of what we've been working on. And so if the team can understand what they're seeing when they ask a question, and it helps summarize something that's meaningful or filter the results in a way that really matter and that they can trust, that's a big part of it, kind of like what Jake just said, then it really shifts to making something that your team can really scale upon. And so that's what we're focused on. And so Jake's gonna walk you through what that looks like in practicality.
So remember, your tools with Bushel are talking to even multiple ERPs across your ag retail team, across your grain business, energy business. And so Buddy knows those positions you have, your contracts, your invoices. And so when you go to say, hey, tell me more about these accounts, you're going to see Buddy can look across the whole thing. So example here, and by the way, the Buddy UI has gotten a lot more useful, full screen, all these different capabilities. He, of course, can tell you what he can do for you. So Buddy will walk you through all the different activities, and as we add more skills and capabilities, you're going to see them listed here, but he can go out and figure out what's going on with those customers. I'll let you read it yourself. We've got history now with Buddy. So right there in the corner, I can go and look at all the different conversations we've had in the past. All of them remember their current context. So if you're talking about a particular customer, you can leave that tab open. Giving you some thumbs up. This is how you help us get better. So as this tool's working for you, by the way, available on your app as well as on your browser. So it doesn't matter where you're at, Buddy's in the corner. That little blue icon is what you're looking for. So new chat, this could be, hey, I'm going to have a new conversation about a different customer. Maybe I'm trying to solve a different problem. That's how you think about new chats. They also are saved as separate context windows. So here's the question of, hey, who haven't we called in a bit, especially if we're in a busy time or a busy rally, or we're busy in the spring and we need to get ahead of some things. Buddy's going to solve that problem for you real quick. It's looking across all your activities on your notes. It's saying, hey, here's the 5 people. And you could say, hey, give me that list in phone numbers so I can call every one of them. and Buddy will say, hey, here's the phone numbers to call, and on your way. Who owes us a lot of money?
Yeah.
Good
Kind of
question to
important.
ask. Here's that list, and by what invoices and how long they're overdue. So these are some things where we could build reports for every one of these components, but we don't exactly know what you're going to ask and what report do you really need. And so turns out Buddy can just do that for you most of the time, and we're skipping this whole individual reporting capability for every little thing you're looking for, and we're jumping ahead to let's just get the answer we're looking for. So what contracts need attention this week? Okay, well, it's probably an open, you might call that an open contract sort of conversation. You might have a summary of that. But the reality is you want to kind of get a sense, whether it's your customers or the whole company, who's late on deliveries, who's missing on, a few open contracts left that we got to go wrap up. We found 6 contracts that need attention. Here they are. Here's why. They're expired or overdue, and you're on your way.
And it showed the most urgent one at the very bottom. It said, this is the most important
Here's
one.
the most, probably decided that it was because it had the most overdue to you. So which accounts have open quotes and we haven't had any follow-ups? So you can call your team and be like, hey, we got to get these things closed. Are we selling fertilizer to these guys or not? Just basic stuff that, yes, you can go click around and figure out what that looks like. But when Buddy takes like a few seconds, you're kind of on your way.
Yep.
So here's the next one. I can't read this one well. Hold on. Yep. Here, tell me where my open contract list is for a particular location. Summary reports are cool. We're definitely doing those. But sometimes you just want to know a particular component of that. And so don't call Bushel and say, hey, can we get this report? You just say, hey, Buddy, can you do it for me?
Right.
And a lot of times you can get Buddy you can copy the whole sheet out of there and add it to a spreadsheet if you want to work it. You can ask it, like I said, for a list of the contact information for those guys. Hey, who do I got to call first? And give me all their phone numbers. Or are they all in the app? All those kind of things. Easy to do. We've got 1.2 million of open contract value at the facility. Here's the top 3. One of them hasn't signed the contract yet. Did you see that? So, okay. Well, now we know what we got to go do. Show me accounts on commodity balances over 10,000 bushels. Just super basic things. But if we had to build a filter for an open contract summary, then I got to go a minimum. Well, we want to see only ones that we got to make all these extra steps, and you can just ask Buddy. So you can imagine this is getting pretty powerful. While it's doing this work, we've talked about MCP servers. If any of you guys have a more advanced team doing your own integration with your own AI tools, we can get Buddy ready for you to do an MCP where you can talk to Buddy about the data that we would normally put in here, but with your own models. So if you're running Copilot or whatever it might be. Compare offer activities by location for the last 30 days. And by the way, Buddy can draw graphs. Buddy can represent data in tables for you. So again, skipping all those extra steps. Oh, I need an export button here. No, you just ask for it, and we'll get Buddy to give it to you. So it's certainly helpful. And remember, you could be running Agris on the grain team and AgVance in retail, and it knows that whole customer picture. It knows you're delivering fertilizer tomorrow, and you've got so much corn contracted with that same farmer. And so that's a pretty powerful connection when you pull it across the board. You can imagine our loyalty stuff we're doing with growers. That's going to be in here at some point for the CRM. How much storage space? What are my top farmers with the top amount of corn storage right now? Those kind of questions. Unpaid invoices, just on and on and on. So far, I'm thinking we've covered all the things you were thinking about. Is there anything we haven't? Is kind of the question I have. Like what maybe Buddy can't do yet? I don't even know if there's a lot to be had here.
I think if we hang on long enough, and we don't have to, but it will get to where if there's something it doesn't know how to look, it'll ask you clarifying questions.
Yep. So if you're asking about Alex, it's like, well, you do business with 20 Alexes, so which one would you like us to talk to? And so it kind of gets clarifying questions. Before it would say, we don't know who Alex is, right? Mm-hmm. Now it's more like, okay, let me help you get this detail more accurately. We're running GPT 5.5, which is the latest. We can upgrade the models at any time as we feel fit. We can switch models as well, although we think we're feeling pretty good about what ChatGPT has done in their work at OpenAI. Also going to go public for $1 trillion at some point, like the rest of them. We'll see how that goes. What customers do I need to follow up with? Interesting question, right? It's kind of open-ended. So what do you want me to help you with? Is it ones without activities or ones with open quotes? It knows the context of which bushels helping our customers in, and it gives pretty helpful guidance. Well, I'm looking for contract deadlines. There you go. So,
yep.
And now Buddy also has this thoughts piece, so you can see what it's doing. Before it was like, oh, I didn't get the right answer, I'm sorry. It's like, well, what did you look? You looked in the wrong place at the wrong time. And so you can even coach Buddy is like, hey, use this contract's information, or I'm actually looking for open invoices, not the ones that we've gotten closed already, that kind of thing. So there you go. Here's all your deadlines by contract and by customer. Again, another table you can copy out of there. Which contracts are at risk? That's a pretty broad question. What does risk mean to you?
The clarifying questions, yeah.
All of the above is an option, actually. But contracts missing signatures, boom, there's your missing signature report. So all unsigned contracts. Give me that list quick so I can call those guys today.
So it's kind of training your users to prompt it in a way that's meaningful as they learn how to do this. Yep. We could probably, I think this.
Hold on, is there one more fun one in here? I feel like there's one more coming, but we'll let it go.
Patient. I'm not very good at being patient.
We're going to dashboarding next, so we'll go from here and we'll show you what else we're doing for you. Let me see this last question, then we'll jump ahead. Yep. All right, so let's get to it. So this will give you an update from what your team up north at the north location is doing, and you'll know where things are. Let's get to the next one.
Okay, so next we're going to talk about dashboarding. We've kind of figured out how to ask Buddy questions, but there are just some things that your team, they're going to need to find out every day at the beginning of the day. And that's really the intent here, is a couple of things. Long term, we want to learn from Buddy what you guys are commonly asking, and then use that to build out those dashboards so that the information is already served up and ready for you. But really, if you think about it, the goal is when someone opens the dashboard, they can immediately know who to call, or what opportunity matters most, or what is most at risk, and then just get to action. And it's really, that's the point, is the speed to action. And so we will show you guys what that looks like.
This part's really exciting because we can build all kinds of things from here.
I love this.
So this is looking at a individual customer's dashboard, and immediately giving you a sense of what you've got for open contracts with that customer. You can compare time periods. So you can say, hey, I want to know what happened from this last quarter to the previous quarter, so I can see that whole picture of probably that last year's crop delivery. And it makes it super easy for you to go through and do that right at the CRM level. So I'm looking at a single customer here, and I'm looking at those records. We've actually added 2 different date selections now, so you can say, hey, I want to look at different time periods, maybe 1 year versus 2 years later when you know the crop rotation was there. And then you can jump up into dashboard. So this is coming soon. We're in the middle of doing this. But this is your customer view. So these are all customers associated to you in the CRM that you work with. And it's giving you a risk score and priority of who you probably need to call based on overdue invoices or undelivered grain, open contracts by customer. You click in and you can give them a call. We've got a view of everything from sales contracts to invoices, all your quoting opportunities. This card concept's how we're going to do it going forward. So if you think of a great idea on what would be helpful for a dashboard, you're going to be able to make it an available card here, and you can organize that look and feel. So if I say, hey, I want a futures card. I want to see these top 3 that I work in all the time. We can do that. And so you can see I'm dinking around in here, deleting some things I don't care about, maybe moving up the sales contract on the card. So when I pull it up on my phone, it's the 2nd or 3rd card down. All that's super easy. And we basically have unlimited flexibility on what those cards can look like. And so you tell us what we need, and we can get to it. You want to talk about this, Lacey, a little bit?
Yeah, so this is where we kind of help you see the ROI of our tools. And so you can see different things that the users are doing inside the tools to find out what is mattering most to them, or if there's an area for opportunity that you guys need to send your team out to be talking to people about. Is there, let's just say, a cash bid that someone's looking at all the time? Let's go talk to that person. So right now, it's at the aggregated level across everybody, but kind of next steps are to bring that down to where you can filter it by groups of people or by a singular person to really get at what's happening in there. And then an adjusted kind of use case for this is, as you guys, we hear all the time, are trying to grow adoption of using these tools and getting your staff to use them. This is a way you can know what's happening around that and really help hold that accountability piece in there, because you'll have visibility of it.
Last point, you can imagine it's a little bit creepy, but because they're in your experience and in your application, we know what the farmer's doing. We know they're logged in, we know what pages they're looking at, we know they checked in on the contracts page. And so what we're working on is a summary in that CRM profile to say, hey, here's where Alex has been today. Or this last week, Alex has been in the app a few times. He's checked the corn page often, the corn bid. And so when you go in there and you're taking notes on your follow-ups for the day, well, Alex has been in the app this morning, maybe I give him a call. Maybe I don't tell him that I saw that he was in the app this morning, but at least I know I can proactively call him and get on the horn. So there we go.
Yeah, so again, thank you guys so much, and if you have feedback, we would love to hear it. That's how we know what to build, and we've taken that feedback over the last year and really, as you can see, been working pretty hard. And so if there's different things you'd like to see, please let us know.
Yeah, dream up those cards. If you say, hey, if I could just have this in front of my face every morning I get to the office, or on the phone, I want to be able to see this without having to click anything. That's what those cards are going to be for. We probably can get it done. And so give us that feedback here on the scan.